Hello and welcome back to my 12 Days of Christmas series. It's day 8 and we're going to be making this cute snow globe using a stamp set from Lawn Fawn. It's got a really cute little alpaca in it and I'm going to be stamping a scene on this snow globe from Hobbycraft. So I actually picked these up last year, but I believe they have got them on sale again, and you can use them to put a family photo inside, like the one that it comes with, or you can just really easily take the bottom off, slip that out, and use it to create your own scene, which is what I'm doing today. So first of all, I used the insert as a template on a piece of white cardstock, and apologies, my lighting seems to be a little bit messed up today, so there's a bit of a blue tinge going on my screen, so apologies for that. So I drew around this dome shape twice, once for my scene and once just to give me a guideline for cutting out a hillside section. So I'm just speeding you up as I apply some Tumble Glass Distress ink and also Salty Ocean. I started at the bottom and blended upwards as I wanted the bottom of this scene to be a little bit darker, and just blended those two colours together. Okay, so now it's time for the really cute alpaca. I've had this stamp set for a while and I've been really excited to use it. So I'm just going to stamp him down using some Memento Tuxedo Black ink. The reason I'm using this ink is that it works really well with alcohol ink markers, and I'm going to be colouring in the alpaca with some Spectrum Noir markers. Okay, so now I'm just cutting around the template that I made here. You don't have to do this, I just wanted to have kind of a snowy bank, and I thought it'd be easiest just to mark out how wide I need that to be. So I'm just freehand cutting a bit of a slope there for my hill that's going to sit in the front. And when I placed that down on the cardstock, I decided that actually I wanted to have an extra slope in the background as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that out using that same piece of cardstock. Place that in the background, and it doesn't matter that that bottom edge is kind of curved because you're not going to see that anyway. Okay, so I'm going to stamp the last part of this sentiment, the alpaca my scarf, which is in brackets. I'm going to stamp that on the hill that's going to be at the front of this little scene. I really love this sentiment. I think it's really sweet, really funny. So now for the colouring, I'm using the BG1 and BG2 just to add a slightly blue-grey colour to the white sections of the alpaca, and then I'm using TN1 and TN2 for the face, and then I'm just using some of my reds for the scarf. I've not put the cap down there, but I think that I used the DR4 for that scarf section, and I just did kind of a striped pattern. So now I'm taking the coordinating die that comes with this stamp set and just cutting out the alpaca. It leaves a really nice white edge around him, and I'm just placing that down and stamping the Baby It's Cold Outside sentiment in Versamark ink. And then I'm adding some snowflakes. I'm using the snowflakes that come in the set, so all of my stamps and my stamping comes from this one little stamp set from Lawn Fawn. Now if I'd have thought ahead, what I should have done is stamped the sentiment and embossed that with black ink, and then stamped my snowflakes and embossed them with white ink. Or I could have used clear embossing powder at the start and stamped down those snowflakes, and then used a resist technique for the blue background. But I didn't think ahead, so this is what we ended up with. I stamped those snowflakes all over the background, just making sure that some sit off the edge. Some kind of go down behind the hills, and I just varied the size and the placement. So once I was happy with how many snowflakes I had stamped down, I brought over some white embossing powder. This is the Stampendous Fine Detail embossing powder. I think it works really well for sentiments and small images like this, where you don't want the powder to just melt into kind of a blob or a circle. Heated up my heat tool and just embossed that. I really like the bright white embossing powder on top of that blue background. I think it gives a really nice kind of wintry cold scene. So I'm going to stick down the background hill. I'm just using the one that's in the foreground to help me with the placement. I've got some Tombow Mono glue on the back of that hill. I'm just going to place that down and then use the same Tombow Mono glue for that hill in the foreground. If I was making this on a card, I'd probably want to kind of pop that up with some 3D foam tape, but because this needs to fit back inside of the snow globe, I just glued everything down flat. So then I glued my cute little alpaca on top, and I held him down just for a second while he dried with an acrylic block, and then fussy cut the image out. So it was right about this time while I was cutting, I suddenly realised, hold on, you aren't going to be able to see that sentiment once it's inside the snow globe, and kind of there's the like the clear plastic would kind of distort that. So I just took a black Sharpie and just traced over the embossing powder. So there we have it, the snow globes all put together, and I couldn't really show the snow globe in action there with the angle of my camera, so sorry this is a little bit shaky, but I thought it showed the snow kind of flowing around a little bit better. So thank you so much for joining me here for day 8. I hope to see you back again on Sunday for day 9. And if you want more from me in the meantime, please do check out my other social media sites.